back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about something that's actually been really on my heart lately, and it's part of the reason why I've stepped away from most of my social media over the past couple weeks. And I think that there's a lot of people who suffer pretty seriously with bouts of anxiety, and I am also one of them. Today, I wanted to just outline a little bit about why I have so much anxiety when it comes to social media and sort of ways in which I'm working through that, thinking about it, and feeling about it. I've made myself some notes so that I don't get too off topic, and this is a part of my personality. I am an ESTJ. Hopefully some of you got to listen to my interview with When Myers Met Briggs. I will link down to it below. And you can listen to some of the things that I'm actually going to reiterate in this video, and I'm going to talk about some new things as well. But as an ESTJ, someone who is an extroverted thinker as my dominant kind of function per the Myers-Briggs scale, I really love to externalize my thought process. The problem lies, at least with me, in actually feeling the feelings that I'm feeling. I can think about the feelings that I'm feeling and I can talk about them out loud, but to actually feel them and to go through that process of feeling them is very difficult for me. I see my world as needing logical organization, and I function best when I can logically organize my thoughts. This is why I make a lot of lists. This is why I have been on one solid path my entire life, and why I feel most comfortable when there is a solid plan and there are limitations around that plan. I don't do well with adapting to rapid change and to constantly needing to adapt to my situation. I can do it, but it makes me feel kind of uncomfortable and it overwhelms me. As an ESTJ, again, as I mentioned, my kind of dominant feature is external thinking. And my blind spot, or the most underdeveloped sort of resource that I have, is in my internal feeling. So, as someone who is an ESTJ, I feel a sense of obligation and a sense of duty. On Instagram, I realize that I have built quite a large account, and there are a lot of people that follow me, that look forward to my posts, and that are interested in what I have to say. And that's an honor, and it feels like a blessing and a privilege. And I'm very aware, I'm hyper aware of the privileges that I have been afforded through my large Instagram account. The people that I've been able to connect with, the experiences that I've gotten to have, the sponsorships that I've had. There have been so many wonderful benefits of that. But along with that, there is a sense of obligation or a sense of duty. And because I am able to sort of deconstruct the privileges that I have on social media, I think a lot about what I post and why I'm posting it. Lately, I've been feeling sort of at a loss. I've been asking myself, is what you're posting even beneficial? Is it necessary if it gives you this much anxiety? I recognize that my voice is heard on my platform in ways that other people's voices aren't because they don't have as large of an audience. But along with that, I believe that the things that I say online are often interpreted in ways that maybe I didn't even intend for them to be interpreted. I believe, and this is something that I said in the podcast episode, that Ilyssa, the person that I am on Instagram, is a persona. And that doesn't mean that I haven't tried to be as authentic as possible, or that I haven't said truthful things or tried to show a really well-rounded version of myself. But when you have 65,000 people or more looking at what you post and having all eyes on you all the time, it is sort of scary the ways in which people interpret what you say and then, therefore, by extension, interpret who you are based upon those posts. And sometimes I feel like the things that I post, though it's such a privilege to have my voice be heard, that I'm actually not being heard the way that I want to be heard. Or maybe sometimes I think what I'm posting is beneficial, or I think that what I'm posting is necessary, and other people are like, why is she posting this? And that's scary. That's scary to externalize something that you think that you care about and have other people not send you that validation back, or if they do, that it's sort of misinterpreted. And that sounds, again, like such a first world problem, like, oh my gosh, you're caring so much about how you're interpreted on a social media platform. But for someone like me, again, and I will fully admit this, as an ESTJ, someone who seeks validation, again, my love language too is words of affirmation. So someone like me who is an ESTJ, who likes to logically organize her world, and that my love language is words of affirmation, all those things combined sort of produce a sense of how am I being represented online? And when that is out of my power, when I get misinterpreted, or when I feel like what I'm saying is not being understood, maybe the way that I projected it, that's scary for me and it's overwhelming. And I will fully admit to that, even if that sounds crazy to you, or even if that sounds ridiculous, that is my truth. So I want to talk a little bit about truth then. Again, for someone who needs to logically organize their world, I have sort of a framework that I operate under, and I sort of keep that framework in all aspects of my life. I understand that everyone has sort of their own truth, and that there are simultaneous truths that can exist. I will think about these various truths, and I will mull over them, and then I will make a conclusion as to which truth will become my truth. Which framework do I feel the most comfortable within? Once I decide on that framework, it becomes my framework, and I don't want it to change. And if I want it to change, it's going to take some time, and I'm going to have to continue to think about it for a while. But really, I kind of much more prefer to arrive at a conclusion, arrive at a framework or an understanding of the world around me, and just kind of sit in that, because I feel most comfortable when I have that logically organized piece of my life. My framework for social media is that I know that I maybe don't make all the same steps as other typical Fitspos do, or I don't compete any longer, and I call out problematic things that I see in the industry. I'm also hyper aware of my own problematicness, and I try to ask myself all the time, how do I play the game, and how do I continue to have my voice heard while still being kind of hypercritical of the game that's played online, right? So this is my framework, my understanding of my social media platform. If that is my platform, then I feel a sense of duty to post things all the time that are being transparent, because that's what I attempt to do, or where I'm showing authenticity, or where I'm showing my truth, and I'm doing things that are different. But another part of my functional stack, per the Myers-Briggs sort of pages, is that I have extroverted intuition. And extroverted intuition means that I have a desire to sort of put a dent in the world. I have a desire to change the world around me. But if you're focused too much externally, and I'm constantly focused on sort of changing the world around me, instead of focusing on the things that are happening internally, I sort of lose my sense of self in seeking that validation and in seeking bringing about change on my social media platform, or thinking about how the things that I say impact other people. And I stop sort of thinking about myself and my own mental health. So for me, if I focus too much externally, which is something that I actually do quite a lot, I stop thinking about myself internally, and I stop feeling the things that I'm feeling internally. Because I think, well, I'm making a change, and I'm talking about things that are important to me, and I'm impacting people's lives, and they are receiving this information, and they're encouraged by it. But at what cost to myself? And how many times am I investing so much of my energy and so much of my writing and my efforts and my critical thought on social media when I should be doing those things for myself in my personal life and in my real life? So that then leads me to a conversation about my values versus the value that I ascribe to my social media platform. I've been asking myself, how can I balance the goals that I have in my real life with the goals that I promote on my social media accounts? How much of my thinking about this entire situation shows that I just really ascribe way too much value to social media when I should be much more focused on the impacts that I'm making in my real life and the goals that I have in the physical and not in the digital? So you guys know that my favorite anagram is ACT, accept, contextualize, and then talk through to therapy or talk through to solutions. So I think I've accepted that my social media accounts, in particular Instagram, really give me anxiety because I feel a sense of duty, a sense of obligation. I feel sort of responsible for the people that I post for and the posts that I make. And I worry a lot about if the things that I'm saying are actually making an impact on other people's lives, or if they're beneficial or necessary in the first place. I've contextualized that by understanding that I am, per myers-briggs, an ESTJ, someone who wants to organize my world, someone who thinks externally and who wants to share the things that I think about. But I also recognize that I have a problem with actually just sitting with my feelings, and sometimes my extroverted intuition, my desire to impact change and to change people's lives, often comes at the cost of me not focusing on the things that I'm actually feeling when it comes to the anxiety and this sense of being overwhelmed and ascribing just way too much value to my social media accounts in the first place. So I've come to a couple conclusions, and I've decided that there have to be several things in my life that I have to learn how to prioritize and that I have to learn how to balance. And so one of the first things is that my teaching career, it has to come before Instagram. If I feel like Instagram is impeding on my ability to actually be a great teacher or be a great grader or actually have the time to focus on lesson planning, then I have to prioritize teaching over Instagram. And that's never been a problem for me really, but I do want to keep that at the forefront in my mind whenever I'm considering if Instagram is giving me anxiety. The next thing, and sometimes these things do suffer, I have to privilege and prioritize my relationships in my real life over the relationships that I have on Instagram. I need to spend time with Kyle in person, not with us sitting next to each other on Instagram, instead of commenting back to my friends. Conversation with him in person is more important than me leaving a comment on someone's Instagram post. Next, I need to focus on loving myself and my physical appearance in my real life instead of seeking Instagram validation for pictures of my body. Though those things are great, I need to remember that I need to prioritize my body in real life and loving myself when I look at myself in the mirror by myself and not having to post that online to seek that validation. The fourth thing would be to prioritize my clients in real life, and though a lot of them have come from Instagram, I need to be able to spend time with them, talk to them, and actually converse and have dialogue with them, and prioritize that over acquaintances that I have on Instagram. Not to say that the people that I'm sort of kind of friends with, that I see here and there on Instagram aren't important, and I'm very grateful for the things that people tell me and the encouragement that people send me and the things that people comment on Instagram. But if it came down to it, I need to privilege my clients first and then my acquaintances on Instagram second. Next, I need to privilege my thoughts and my ideas here in the physical world over the thoughts and ideas that I have about the fitness community. So the thoughts and the feelings that I have inside about my mental health and about who I am as a person and the goals that I have for myself and where I want to go throughout the rest of my life, those things have to be more important than my criticisms of the fitness industry or my thoughts about sponsorships or my thoughts about anything else really related to the fitness industry. Though those things are important and they are a part of my life, again, if it came down to it, I have to prioritize my mental health over the thoughts that I have about the fitness industry. Next, my time has to be prioritized over Instagram time. And I think that ties in with a lot of the things that I've said previously, but time just spent alone when I come home from work, it shouldn't be just immediately spent me sitting on the couch, getting online, getting on Instagram. Sometimes you just need to be alone with your thoughts. And I have a hard time doing that. Again, I have a hard time just feeling the feelings that I have. But I really want to begin to prioritize sitting by myself alone without any other digital media influence, just sitting with my thoughts because they can be your own best companions. That's something that Jane Austen said. And finally, I really want to begin again to privilege my academic writing over my Instagram captions. Though I think I say a lot of things and I spend a lot of time writing sort of beautiful Instagram captions to inspire and encourage other people, I want to focus again on my academic writing and actually writing again on my blog, spending time doing that over posting lengthy comments on Instagram. I hope that some of you listening to this video were able to sort of relate to this idea of social media and anxiety. I know again that this is maybe not something that a lot of people talk about, and I'd be interested to know if there are other people that feel that sense of responsibility or obligation, even if it isn't on maybe such a grand scale that I experience, maybe if it's just a smaller scale. I would love to hear from you guys and get some dialogue started about this. Again, I recognize that this is a very strange sort of convoluted problem to have and a very privileged problem to have. And I hope that, I explain this in such a way that you're able to kind of see a more authentic and true me in ways that I can't always show on Instagram. So if you got all the way through this video, thank you for listening to me. I'm hoping that if I can sort of reframe my gaze on Instagram and stop putting so much value into it and just being me and not focusing so much on the external things, if I can really sort of feel the feelings that I'm feeling, then I'll have a much better grip on what I project on Instagram, and maybe I won't have so much anxiety towards it any longer. So thank you guys for listening. I appreciate you. Talk to you soon. Bye.